Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this channel. Today, I want to talk to you about the definition and meaning of warlock. What is a warlock? It depends on who you ask. In today's world, when we look at pagans and Wiccans, a warlock is an oathbreaker deceiver, but they only pick and choose which definition or etymology they wish to go by. Basically, what a warlock is somebody who has been banished from a coven because they wanted to reach out and learn something new, something else that the elders of that coven did not want them to know. And it's ironic too, because when we look at the term warlock, it means a male practitioner. And we see a lot of definitions that befall this one name. For an example, sorcerer, wizard, male witch, black magician, diviner, occultist, enchanter, spellcaster, magus, or mage. You probably already heard all of this stuff before if you've delved into witchcraft, sorcery, or any other branch of magic. Even if you've made it a spiritual pursuit, such as becoming a demonologer, demonolator. Maybe you're a Satanist getting into demonolatry. You're learning witchcraft, necromancy, divination, or even voluntarily allowing yourself to become possessed through invocations, evocations either. So when we look at this, why don't we break this down? Because there's two words on here that you probably never even heard of. For an example, Pishogue. That's Pishogue. And this means two things: a wise, saw, or aphorism. Okay? Two, charm, incantation, spell, sorcery, and witchcraft. And the other is thaumaturges. Okay, that's Thaumaturges. Okay, and this means worker of wonders and miracles, a magician. When you go underneath this term and you look for further definitions, one of the biggest things that comes out is a JCI, Son of God. You got it? Jesus Christ. And yes, I just took his name in vain, and I'm proud of it. But my point is this: you look at what he did, and that's one of the reasons they chose that as a further definition. He performed miracles, made a blind man see, brought the dead back to life, necromancy, controlled the elements, such as the air, water. Guess what? Witchcraft. That's elemental. Spiritualism, working with spirits, opened up a rift, Jacob's Ladder, Book of Mark. Or perhaps you might want to go into, say, working with demons, the man possessed, Legion. Or how about Daniel, when they opened up that furnace? They had 3 people in there, and yet they saw the image of 4. The fourth one being an angel, an angelic being. Or how about How about the definition, or I should say the proverb, of Gabriel coming to Mary in the Gospels before she was found pregnant? Or what about Michael in the Old Testament, who literally slaughtered in one night an entire army? Interesting. That's chiromancy. Chiromancy, spiritual conjuration of spirits. You got Jacob's ladder. Or what about when Jesus took two of his comrades, his disciples, up on the mountain and opened that rift and two apostles came out? You see, this stuff is what they refer to as this. Okay? Now let's take a look at some of these words. Old English, the Warloga, meaning traitor, monster, scoundrel, and the devil, even. From the word where, Warloga, W-A-E-R, okay? Meaning covenant, okay? This is where he's made that devil's pact through the covenant, okay? The Middle English Logan, that's Leogan, meaning to deny. Bailey, B-E-L-I-E, the pact with the devil, hence the word sorcerer, okay? To the old Scots, the old Scottish term, okay, the old Scots, the warlock was associated with the word witch, a male practitioner, meaning both male and female practitioners. And it was said through this, even though most of these so-called witches were female, it was also said, and I quote, that these males made a pact with Ald Horny, meaning the pact with the devil. Okay? And it's interesting to see how many views there are just of this term. For an example, Dr. Tom Knotts, who has his own YouTube channel, and I quote, he is a self-professed Christian. Okay? He quotes two aspects of the definition warlock. The first one is the purebloods. In his views and his so-called interviews and associations with practitioners of witchcraft, a pureblood warlock can literally trace their lineage back to Babylonia. Okay? And the dabblers are the wannabes. They're the ones that simply are initiated into it. If we look at the etymology and terminology, just based off his views, what did I just say about the Warloga in Old English? Or the Vard Lokan, meaning whitetail in Old, or witch in Old Norse, aka the Scots. How about the Google definitions of warlock? A man practicing black magic, a sorcerer. Okay? The comparing of the equality between male and female of witchcraft. Basically, a conjurer. The first used terminology of the word warlock was in the 14th century. The Anglo-Saxon word warloga, meaning traitor, deceiver, and or liar. Sorcerer, okay, wizard, who has gained some form of supernatural powers through a devil's pact. Scottish, Old English, Germanic, Indo-European roots, meaning oathbreaker and deceiver. When we look at the different names, you have magician, magus, wizard, warlock, sorcerer. Okay, and this is very interesting because even you can break this down from the European countries all the way down into Africa, the African practitioners. In Europe, an evil practitioner. Okay, the Eastern school of thought where sorcery is a base art. In the South American, a holy man, a shaman, a spiritual warrior held in high regard. In African, you have the medicine men, considered to be witch doctors due to the healing and protection spells from the Bokor. And for those of you who do not know voodoo, not the Voodoo, but the Vodou spelling. A Bokor is a male practitioner, considered to be evil, selling their soul or souls for power. There's a lot that goes into it. I'm not going to get into that right now, at least in this video. And this is due to the W, as in UU, or the double V, okay, and the double they. Okay, so you really have to get into this stuff to understand where the definition and the etymology of the word of warlock literally comes from. It's not just one region, it's a whole bunch of regions. Now, Hans Holzer, he literally defined a warlock as a solitary practitioner of whatever sorcery or spells that he can get his hands on. Okay, and depending upon his nature, his mood, he can either heal or destroy. Okay, according to Hans Holzer's, he is a warlock is basically somebody that's associated with modern day sleight of hand tricks. Okay, but the one thing all these etymologies utilize and really go into is the fact that a warlock is highly knowledgeable. They're cunning through wisdom. Dr. Theodore J. Rubian lives in Westboro, Mass. Okay. He was a practitioner, a male practitioner, a warlock, one of the first to come out in the 19th century. And you know what's interesting? He is also a medical professional. Okay. What's even more ironic is how many medical professionals actually practice sorcery. Not just men, but also women. Michael Howard lives in London, England. And is a Gardarian, okay, a journalist. And it's ironic how many of these practitioners really do come out and do good things for the community. Okay, so why is it that people only hold on to these negative connotations where a warlock is considered to be evil? Have they not traced these roots of the word? I can tell you that if you go back to the 6th century, the term hexa, that's Haxa, is not only the name for witchcraft, but it is also associated with both male and female practitioners. The Aji, the Hungan, the Membo in African. You see my point. If you want to know where these practices come from, you have to go into the definitions, the etymology. You have to trace the word back to its sources. But you can't just stick in Old English, Scottish, or Norse. You got to go into European. You got to go into Germanic, ancient Greek, Greco-Greek. Okay? Go back into the African Caribbean traditions to find out these practitioners. For example, in Palo Mayombe, Palo Monte, or even that of Santeria, you have the Marimberos, who's considered to be the darker aspect, the Bokor of these traditions. The Bokor is a priest or priestess who is not initiated into these arts. And you can trace all this stuff right back to their sources, either European or African based. But they're there. So if you want to sit there and just believe what people tell you and not do your own homework, that's on you. Rise or fall at your own discretion. Have a good day.